Secrets of the desert fort. Picture this. You're standing in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by endless, golden sand dunes. The sun is beating down mercilessly, and suddenly you see it. An ancient fort that shouldn't exist. No maps show it. No government records mention it. But there it stands, as real as the ground beneath your feet. Now imagine walking closer and realizing that everyone who has ever entered this fort has never been seen again. This is exactly what happened to Dr. Sarah Khan, a brilliant archaeologist, whose discovery would challenge everything we think we know about time, reality, and the price of uncovering forbidden secrets. The story begins 3 days ago. Sarah received a package that would change her life forever. Inside was her grandfather's military journal from World War II, a grandfather she'd never met, who had disappeared during a routine patrol in 1943. The journal's final entry was haunting. Found something in the desert. Something that defies explanation. If anyone reads this, stay away from Fort Qasr, al-Sirr. The locals call it the place where time forgets. But Sarah wasn't the type to stay away from mysteries. Q, armed with advanced GPS equipment and accompanied by her research assistant, Marcus, she set out to find this impossible fort. After driving 4 hours through terrain that seemed to shift and change around them, they found it. Rising from the sand like a mirage made solid, massive stone walls covered in symbols that hurt your eyes to look at directly. The locals weren't lying, Marcus whispered, his voice barely audible over the desert wind. This place feels ... wrong. Sarah approached the ancient wooden gates, each step making her heart pound faster. As her hand touched the weathered wood, the temperature dropped 20 degrees in an instant. The gates swung open by themselves. Inside, the fort was impossibly vast, corridors stretching further than the outer walls should have allowed. Symbols on every surface seemed to pulse with their own inner light. And strangest of all, their footsteps echoed not just in the present, but seemed to layer with the footsteps of countless others who had walked these halls across centuries. In the central courtyard stood a well. But this wasn't filled with water. Instead, it contained a substance that looked like a liquid starlight, reflecting nothing, yet somehow showing everything. Sarah read from her grandfather's journal. The well is called the Mirror of Destinies. The desert tribes believed it could show you every possible future, but at a terrible cost. As if responding to her words, the well began to emit voices, distant at first, then clearer. Sarah heard her own voice calling from the depths. Help us. We're trapped between moments. The fort won't let us leave. That's when they realized the entrance behind them had vanished. Solid stone wall, as if there had never been a door at all? Okay, this is officially beyond weird, Marcus said, his voice cracking with fear. But Sarah's archaeological training kicked in. She studied the symbols more carefully, cross-referencing them with her grandfather's notes. These aren't just decorations, they're instructions, and they're telling us that this fort exists in multiple time periods simultaneously. As they explored deeper, they found rooms that defied logic. Ancient Roman armor sat next to medieval weapons, next to modern military equipment. In one chamber, they discovered skeletons wearing clothing from different centuries. A Viking warrior, a Spanish conquistador, a British colonial officer, and in the center, a World War II uniform with dog tags reading Con. R. 1943. Grandfather. Sarah breathed, kneeling beside the remains. In his skeletal grip was another journal. This one, impossible, filled with entries spanning decades, all in his handwriting, all describing life as a prisoner of the fort. The fort collects guardians. She read aloud. People drawn by curiosity, by greed, by the desire to solve mysteries. Once here, we become part of its eternal watch, existing in all moments at once. That's when they heard it, something climbing up from the well, something that had been waiting in those liquid depths for new arrivals. A figure emerged, tall and robed, with eyes that held the accumulated wisdom of ages. When it spoke, its voice carried the weight of centuries. Welcome, seekers of secrets. I am the first guardian, the one who built this place when the world was young. The fort chooses its protectors carefully. We just want to leave, Marcus pleaded. The figure smiled sadly. Leave. But you came seeking the greatest mystery of all. The secret isn't what the fort contains. The secret is what it protects. There are some things in this universe that must never be found by those who would misuse them. Through the windows, the full moon was rising, and the symbols on the walls began to blaze with brilliant light. The lunar alignment happens once every decade, the Guardian explained. Tonight, one of you may leave, but one must stay to maintain the balance. Sarah and Marcus looked at each other, the impossible choice hanging between them. I'll stay, Sarah said quietly. Sarah, no. But she was already making her decision. Marcus, you have a family. I've spent my whole life chasing mysteries. Maybe this is where I was always meant to end up. As the moon reached its peak, a doorway of light appeared in the wall. Sarah pushed Marcus toward it with all her strength. Go. Tell them, ... Tell them some secrets are worth protecting. Marcus tumbled through the portal, and it sealed behind him instantly. When he looked back from the desert outside, there was nothing. but empty sand. But in his pocket, he found Sarah's grandfather's journal, now containing new entries in Sarah's handwriting. Day 1, I understand now. We're not prisoners here. We're guardians of something that could reshape reality itself. The fort exists outside of time to keep certain knowledge from falling into the wrong hands. Marcus, if you're reading this, don't mourn for me. I'm exactly where I need to be, protecting a secret that must never be revealed. And that's the incredible story of Fort Qasr al-Sirr, a place that may or may not exist, depending on who you ask. Marcus returned to civilization, but he never spoke publicly about what happened. The only evidence, that journal, which now sits in a private collection, its final pages filling themselves with new entries even today. Some say that on certain desert nights, when the moon is full, you can still see the outline of an ancient fort in the sand. And if you listen carefully to the wind, you might hear Sarah's voice, along with countless others, keeping their eternal watch over secrets too dangerous for our world. The question is, if you found that fort, would you have the courage to enter? Or more importantly, would you have the wisdom to walk away? If you enjoyed this mysterious story, please don't forget to like this video. Hit that subscribe button, because I regularly bring you such fascinating and spine-chilling stories. Let me know in the comments, have you ever seen any mysterious place that has no official records? Or do you think some secrets should remain hidden in reality? Also, tell me in the comments which topic you want to hear in the next video. Haunted palaces of Rajasthan, lost treasures of the Mughal Empire, mysterious disappearances in the Himalayas, ancient secrets of the Indus Valley. Don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell, and share with your friends who love mystery stories. See you in the next video with another mind-blowing story. Until then, take care, and remember, some mysteries are better left unsolved.